everyone. It is the season of the autumnal equinox of Mabon. Today we are going to be celebrating with some lovely food. And really this whole week has been a wonderful transition into the fall season, into autumn for us. On Saturday evening, I got together with my women's circle. Unfortunately, only 3 of us were able to attend due to illness and, just comfort levels with it being a pandemic and all. But we had a lovely socially distant, what's going on with my hair? A lovely socially distant fire. My friend has a lovely backyard, which she allowed us to use, a lovely fire pit. We had some very deep, very meaningful conversations. I brought an herb mixture. I brought white sage, rose, rosemary. I had also wanted to bring mugwort, but my mugwort literally arrived right after I left. It was supposed to arrive the day of. I had put in a last minute herb order because I thought I had mugwort. And then when I actually went to put together the herb blend, I realized what I thought was mugwort was motherwort. I have it all labeled, but just in my head, I thought I had something else, which is okay. I mean, I love motherwort, and so I ordered it. And now I have mugwort, but unfortunately, it didn't arrive. We started at 7 p.m. so I had to leave here just after about 6:40 to get to my friend's house, and the package arrived at about 7:15. But I would have loved to put mugwort in there, and I also would have loved to put yarrow in, but I didn't have a chance to get out to harvest any yarrow. There's a lot of yarrow that grows here naturally, so I would have loved to pick up some of that, but didn't have a chance. The weather wasn't conducive. So actually, speaking of foraging, that is our plan for tomorrow, for the day that you're actually seeing this video, is I'm going to take my kids out and we are going to do some foraging. I want to find some plantain, I want to find some yarrow, and we'll see what else we can find. So that was the beginning of my autumnal equinox celebration, was the lovely fire pit gathering on Saturday evening, and we've just been hanging out, doing some cleaning. Like in the spring, I love to do fall cleaning, love to make sure everything's nice and clean. I find the fall season is wonderful for spiritual cleaning and cleaning up the soul, cleansing of the soul. In the spring, we think about cleaning our physical environment, and in the fall, it moves more inward. But I still like to have a clean physical environment so that I can focus on my internal environment. So it is now just after breakfast. We just had a delicious breakfast of dippy eggs and toast. That has got to be one of my favorite breakfasts. It's so easy, it's convenient, it's delicious. But now I need to start making stew so that it can be in the oven all day. I like to make my stew in a Dutch oven. I start by sauteing the meat on the stove, and then I put it into the oven at 325 for hours. It is about 11 o'clock, so it'll be in the oven for about 6 hours. Then I'll shut it off and let it sit for about half hour, maybe an hour before we eat. With it being in the Dutch oven, it'll stay warm. Last night I did make this delicious loaf of bread. It caused me a little bit of issues. It got stuck on the bottom, and then I put it in the bag for overnight a little too quickly. It was still a little too warm, so it kind of got a little wrinkly on top. But it's a rosemary and garlic artisan bread. It smells so good. I can't wait to cut into this with our dinner tonight. I just use, we do buy store-bought bread. Like you can see there's pitas behind me. Even if you, because you know, even if you know how to make bread, you don't always have to make bread. It's okay to use store-bought things every once in a while or all the time. You don't have to make bread. But when I make bread, I do like to save the bread bags so that when I make homemade bread, I can just reuse the bags to keep it fresh. So I got my oven preheated to, can't see my finger, got my oven preheating to 325. That's my pan from breakfast this morning. I'm gonna clean up, make some stew. I have actually made this stew in a video before, so I will link that up in the cards above. So I'm just gonna show you a little clip about how I made the bread. I know that. So here's my mugwort that arrived. And people often ask, where do you buy herbs if you can't go out and forage them locally? I would love to be able to forage things like plantain here, but we have so many dogs in our neighborhood that I just wouldn't trust it to not be contaminated by dog pee. We also have a lot of places like the city parks, the municipal parks, the provincial parks. It's illegal to forage in those. We have some wonderful provincial parks within our city, but it's illegal to forage there. They're trying to protect the ecosystem, especially since we do have such a wide array of natural, a wide array of animals that live in our area. You know, we frequently have deer within the city. People even see moose. There's bobcats. Not that bobcats eat the plants, but you know what I mean. We have wild hares. We have all sorts. Once you go up into the mountains more, you also have elk. And you just don't want to take away that food source for them, especially now as they're getting into, you know, getting ready for the winter. So I like to buy a lot of my herbs online, especially with this last year and a half. I haven't really gone into any local stores. We do have a few stores that sell herbs, but I mostly order online. I will leave a few links below to places that I like, such as Mountain Rose Herbs. But this is dried mugwort, and I literally bought this off of Amazon. It's from Brewer's Best. Spices, herbs, fruits, and fruit flavorings. I figured if, like, or you can find a whole bunch of herbs online, and if they're rated for consumption, something like brewing, or if it's for tea, then I trust that more than if it's like a decorative herb. Like I see lavender a lot, but there's no, like, it doesn't claim to be for tea, it doesn't claim to be for anything, so I don't know what's on that. So I just like to make sure that the sellers state that it is for consumption. Now, the mugwort that I wanted for our ritual the other night wasn't even for for consumption. I actually put it all into a jar and we sprinkled it into the fire, setting our intention for the upcoming fall season. So there's all sorts of different ways to use herbs. And if you're not going to consume them, then you might not need to be as careful, but I don't know if I'm going to want to consume this or use this in something that might be ingested in the future. So I just like to make sure that it's from somewhere that seems reputable. But again, I will leave some links down in the description box for sources that I like to use. But it was also another happy mail day today. So this is, well, I guess it's kind of fall related. But it really is just me being vain and showing you something that I'm so excited about. My zero shoes have arrived. I have been living the barefoot minimalist shoe lifestyle for a couple years now. I got my first pair of unshoes probably 4 years ago. I got the unshoe sandals, but I've always been one to just not want to wear shoes. I don't like when a toe box is not wide enough. I don't like when my feet feel compressed. I have issues with my feet going numb, and especially if they're in a toe box that doesn't fit properly or is too small, then I really have issues that kind of linger. So a few years ago, I discovered the work of Katie Bowman and her book, Whole Body Barefoot. I have since read so many of her books. She actually just came out with a new book called Grow Wild, which is fantastic. So I've been slowly transitioning to minimal footwear. I also just enjoy living a more minimalist life. I like to store things that we know we are going to need, such as food. But in terms of furniture or belongings or even clothes, I don't like to have a lot. I get overwhelmed when I have too many options to put on my body. And I also want to buy things that are more sustainable, more well-made. I used to buy those cheap flip-flops that at the beginning of summer you could get for like $1 or $2 at Old Navy. And they are so cheaply made that I would go through 2 or 3 pairs every summer. Now, because of the price, not really a big deal, right? But in terms of the footprint that is leaving on our earth, I really was not a fan of that. So I was looking into something that would make my feet feel good, something that was more sustainable. I played around with the idea of Keens, which is like a more strappy, more solid built sandal, but I just didn't feel right. Like I didn't feel connected to the earth. They were much too clunky under my feet. And that's when I came across the idea of barefoot compatible footwear. And the first brand that I bought is the Unshoe sandals. And then I've had those for about 4 years. And then about 2 years ago, I upgraded my running shoes. I was just wearing Skechers, like that was my go-to brand. But I upgraded them to running shoes that have a Vibram sole. So nice and flexible, wide toe box, no rise. And it's great because they actually you can feel the ground under your foot. Like you don't, if you step on like a sharp rock or something, you don't necessarily feel that. But you feel the way that the ground moves and contorts your foot, which is great. So then I wanted to find something for fall and winter, and that's why I bought myself these. I have been looking for these boots. These are the Mika, M-I-K-A brand. Again, I will link these down below. I've been looking for boots that, again, have a wide toe box. I guess maybe you can see it better there. And the sole is super flexible. Look at that. Can your boots do that? And there is also no rise, like there's no heel on these. Now I do live in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, So I don't trust these to keep my feet warm when we have negative 40-degree days. I did go up a full size on these. The website suggested half a size, but because I wanted to accommodate a thicker wool sock, I did go up a full size. And they fit relatively well. I do have large calves, and these are not made for a large calf person. You can see I tried this one on, and it barely does that, but that's okay. I'll just probably undo that very top one. But they're super comfortable. I really like them, and I'm excited to wear them. Now, because I don't know if these will be good for negative 45-degree days, I am holding on to my big clunky snow boots, which are, I think they're Sorrel brand. They weren't inexpensive boots, and they've lasted numerous years, and they are still good. But I wanted something for the fall, and I'm so excited to, go out hiking and exploring the world in my new boots. I just realized I was talking about all these herbs that I was using, but I never really told you why. So the reason I picked rosemary is for love and protection. The reason I picked sage is for cleansing and for strength. The reason I picked mugwort was for protection and shielding. And the reason I picked rosehips was for love, luck, and healing. I feel like that was a really good herbal blend for this time of year. The autumnal equinox, like the spring equinox, marks a balance in the year, a balance of light and dark, of day and night. The day, it's a point of the year when the days are the same length as the night. And I like to think of it in relation to our body. It's this balance of day and night, but it's also this balance of the external environment, our physical surroundings, our home environment, all of that, and a balance with the internal environment, the soul, the mind, even your health. And as we move through the fall season and into the winter, the nights just get longer and longer and longer, giving us more time to focus on the darkness or what is within. Not saying that you have darkness within you, but it's just metaphorically, the darkness is within because you can't see what is within you, and the light is the things external to you that you can physically see and touch. So I like to think of this time of year kind of like spring cleaning, but for the autumn and for within. So I chose a lot of the herbs that I did because of their protection, because of their love, because of their shielding, and because of their healing properties. They're all wonderful herbs, and it's not an exclusive list. Like, there's so many more that you can use. Like, I wanted to also get some yarrow, some plantain would be wonderful. Even lavender would be good because of its calming properties. There's so many different things, and I'm sure that there's ones that I haven't even begun to work with yet. So if you have any herbs that you like to work with, especially at this time of year, please let us know down in the comments below, because perhaps it'll enlighten us to other things that we could use on this path. But as we go about this spring cleaning for the soul, the autumnal cleaning, the fall cleaning, it reminds me of, I'm sure many of you have seen the image that one thing that fall is good at teaching us is the power of letting go, right? It's how the trees let go of the leaves. And now, I keep going back between fall and autumn. I love the word autumnal. Just beautiful word. Fall, I mean, we used to say fall all the time growing up, and I've been trying to shift from fall to autumn because I just think it's a prettier word. But let me know down in the comments which word you use. But again, like I was saying, this is a great time to set intention, to let go of things, especially those things within that are no longer serving us. Setting the intention to let go of bad habits so that we can make space for new things. Letting go of destructive behaviors or bad relationships. Just freeing up the clutter that exists within our minds to allow space for new things to come in. And this doesn't happen overnight. It's not like, oh, it's the fall equinox, all of a sudden things are changed, right? No, we've got a whole season ahead of us. And then we also go into the winter season with the darkness, where it's about sitting in the darkness and knowing that the light is coming. So the intentions that I'm setting for myself, I know that they're not going to, be cured overnight. They're not going to be dissolved overnight. It's going to take time, it's going to take patience, and it's going to take courage and strength. And I'm setting the intention to have that courage and strength to move forward through this season. And I would encourage you to do the same. But we do have to remember that it is a time for balance. It's not about just kicking those old habits to the curb. You have to trust yourself. You have to find a balance of what works and what doesn't. And sometimes that just means balancing those quote unquote bad habits, because nothing is really bad nor good. It's just what is or isn't working for us in the moment. But so balancing those bad habits with habits we would much prefer, if you want to, stop being on your phone so much, which is a habit I'm trying to kick this autumn, is, stepping away from social media a bit. And perhaps I'm going to fill that time with nature walks. And instead of thinking about not spending time on social media, because, whenever you're not doing something, isn't that right where you want to focus? It's like when you're on a diet and you can't eat cupcakes, even though you don't really like cupcakes, but when you've told yourself you can't have cupcakes, that's all you want. Thumbs up if you know that feeling. So when you're trying to cut something, don't think of yourself as someone who's trying to cut those things out. Think of yourself as someone who's trying to add things into your life. I'm not someone who's trying to spend less time on their phone. I'm someone who's trying to spend more time in nature. I'm not someone who is trying to eat less junk food. I'm trying to be someone who eats more greens. If you are a smoker and you want to give up smoking, instead of thinking yourself as someone who's trying to give up smoking, think of yourself as a non-smoker. You don't smoke. And just spend more time being that person. Spend more time being the non-smoker than you do the smoker. And eventually the non-smoker will overpower the smoker. It's a balance. Transformation takes time. And you have to balance your life and your intentions as you go through it, right? Things aren't going to change overnight. Even if you can break a physical habit overnight and give something up, you still have the mental habits, the mental awareness of those old habits that have to dissolve and move away. So give yourself grace and give yourself time. almost coming to an end. The stew was absolutely delicious. Tomorrow morning, probably as you're watching this, if you've seen it right when it goes up, we'll probably be out on a nature walk looking to see what kind of herbs we can find. I don't know where we're gonna go yet. I may go to one of our provincial parks and just take our field guide and just look and not actually forage anything. It's illegal to take things from the provincial and the national parks. So, I don't want to get into trouble or do anything to, upset that balance. So we'll see where we go tomorrow. We may even just go along the pathways and see what we can find. But I'm so excited to get out and just have a time to reconnect with some of our local plants. But for now, here's the end of the day. I'm tired. I'm going to go have a nice bath. I have a sage and citrus bubble bath, which smells absolutely divine. So I think I'm going to use that tonight with some Epsom salts and just relax, do a little meditation in the bath, and welcome in the fall season. So happy autumnal equinox, happy Mabon, happy spring equinox if you're on the other side of the world. I hope you all had a wonderful day or are having a wonderful day. I would love to hear down in the comments what you've been doing to celebrate the coming autumnal season. I just love this time of year. I love the cooler weather. I love, the shorter days. It's a balance of day and night at this time of year, and it brings me such joy. I'm excited to move into the fall season, and I have lots of fun fall projects coming up that I can't wait to share with you. So I will see you all in the next video. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one. Bye.